Dogda Gopala Nandana Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitamritam Maha. All the Upanishads are likened to a cow. The cowherd boy is Krishna. The calf is Arjuna. People of purified intellect are the drinkers of the milk, and the milk is the supreme nectar called the Bhagavad-Gita. Verses 22 and 23 of chapter 6. The 22 verse is, and obtaining which one does not think of any other acquisition to be superior to that, and being established in which one is not perturbed even by great pain, dukkha. The verse is, Yam labdva cha param labam manyate nadikam tataha yasmin sthito na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Yam labdva, obtaining which, attaining which, labh, attaining which one does not think any other gain to be superior to that. Na manyate adhikam tata. Yasmin sthito, and established in which na dukkhena gurunapi, even the heaviest of afflictions, the heaviest of sorrows, will not make that person unstable. So this is transcendence of pain. Well, the scriptures also speaks about the three types of tapa, pain, afflictions. The bodily, that which is external, which we don't have any control over it. Even in the body, we don't have any control of this. And things even external to me and the external world. That's, they say, the divine. It's called Adibhautik, Adidaiva, Adhyatma. Adhyatma, Adibhauta is outside, Adidaiva. These are not within your control. These, and that's the reason why when we chant any of the hymns, we end with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Not peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. All peace, peace, peace. So we say, peace be unto you, peace be unto you. No, no, the whole world is out there to give you pain, to inflict its kind of painful modifications upon you, because the world is constantly undergoing modifications, change. Every modification is attended with pain. So even Bhagavan Buddha says, Sarvam dukkham dukkham. All this is painful, 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 painful. Birth is painful, this is painful, everything is painful. Everything is painful. Life itself is painful. Eating is painful, sleeping is painful, work is painful, everything is painful. That's why the author of the Yoga Sutra also saying Dukkhameva sarvam vivekena. For the discerning, everything is painful. But what is the scripture trying to tell you about this pain? Why this pain? Well, you see, the Sanskrit language itself is so beautiful, you know. Dukkam, dukkha, pain or sorrow. You know, it's called, you know, they say it's like, you know, kam is space. And du is bad space. So you are in a bad space. External and internal. Similarly, so come. You're in a peaceful place. So is good. Good. Now, when we talk about, you know, even the Sankhya philosophers say, Athyantika dukkha nivritti, the you can say, coming away from that absolute pain. What is liberation, kaivalya? The complete disassociation, the complete transcendence from nature is liberation. What nature has done to us? Yeah, nature which is outside is also here. So, like I said, every modification, and our mind can see the consequence, the sequence. Either it's anticipation of something, we don't get it, it's painful, etc. So, it's a human experience, so we don't need to elaborate on this. And it's not only human experience, it's the experience of every life form. So here the Lord says, and obtaining which one does not think of any acquisition to be superior to that. What's that? So along with pain, if there was no bliss as its counterpart, life would have been simply impossible. So what's the highest reach of this bliss? It is this. So the Upanishads say, it is not possible to describe that bliss which rises in the mind that is completely free from all nature's modifications by the practice of samadhi. Now, we all have experienced, kind of a thrill that goes down in our bodies, or especially in our spines. A kind of a electric shock that sometimes goes. When you see something, we hear something, there's a kind of a thrill. It's so thrilling, and you feel that kind of thrill running through your body. Yeah, it's kind of thrilling. Now, increase it by 1,000,000 times and put it down in each and every cell. And there are trillions of cells. Trillions and trillions and trillions. So imagine that thrill felt in each and every cell of the body when one attains that which has to be attained by every human being. Swami Shivananda Mahapurush Maharaj was once found quoting this, Yam labdhva cha param labham manyate nadikam tata yasmin stito na dukkhena gurunapi vichaliti. You're not shaken by even the greatest guruna. Guru is heavy. You're not shaken by the heaviest of afflictions, sorrows. Once established in which? Established in what? Established in the self. So for a couple of classes preceding this one, we've been talking about samadhi, etc., etc. When you come down to this final stage where you discern this is nature and this is the Atman, Purusha. It's called Viveka Khyati. You see the difference. These two are separate. This knowledge brings into fruition what is called one of the highest samadhis. And what is that? Dharma Mega Samadhi. Dharma is virtue, or you can say it has many meanings. Dharma, Mega, like a cloud that sheds rain all over on the good and bad and everywhere. This person, when is established in this space, sheds virtue wherever, on whatever, on everything. So on this, when the final stage, the yogi rejects all modifications of nature, Prakriti, he or she attains the Dharma Mega Samadhi. This is the final word in spirituality. It is this, Yam Labdva, attaining this. There is no higher gain than this. What is beyond this? No, there is nothing beyond this. Are you sure? Perfectly. How do you know? Well, people who have attained it, and the Lord Himself says, after attaining this stage, there is no other higher acquisition to be had. So the Upanishads also, especially in the Mandukya Upanishads, says the highest bliss is when you experience it in your own Atman, which is quiescent coexistence with liberation. It is liberation. So when you get liberated, what happens? You go about like a dry person. No. There's that constant bliss in you. Constant. In waking, in dreaming, in deep sleep, whether you're eating, you're dreaming, you're anything. That bliss is constant. Imagine you get a thrill down your spine and you feel so good. Wow. That itself will exhaust you. Imagine 1,000,000 times that thrill running through every cell in your body. A body will simply break if it is not ready. So that's why in these higher states, the body has become a perfect receptacle of this bliss. And this is yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadiga. That person, that yogi or yogini thinks that there is nothing higher than this. So this is, as you say, God realization. So this is, as the commentator says, a special state of the yogi's mind, when that person gets that bliss. That's why the reality is described in Vedanta as Sat, existence, consciousness, Chit, mass of consciousness, and bliss. That which is existence is consciousness, and which is also bliss. They are not three things. It is one thing, that existence, reality is existence and consciousness and bliss. So this bliss is a perfect, you can say, experience of this reality. You know, when we say, oh, you know, there is so much to be attained and so much to be attained. Yes, keep on. And once you keep on running behind it, then you know you are chasing a chimera. Oh, I was distracted. Then you come back and try to attain something else. It's like a constant running towards the horizon. The more you run towards it, the more it recedes. But in the case of yoga, the more you go towards that horizon, the more it comes towards you. And this is that speciality of yoga. So this is the perfect transcendence of all evil, all pain, all sorrows. So what do you get? What do you get? This is what you get. Spoken of from the relative plane, from the absolute plane, you understand it. Okay, you've experienced the highest, you can say, reality. So is not this reality? Yeah, sometimes this reality is a very painful reality. And this is what? This is on the lowest level of reality. We are seeing the reality as gross, as limited, and everything that is gross and limited has an element of transformation. And wherever there's a transformation, there will always be pain. So, one is, first, that person will not avoid any kind of thing. So once you have attained that perfect bliss, there is no swerving from that state, as they say. He does not get moved by anything other than this bliss. So suppose that person wants an old desire for some enjoyment, it won't happen. The second is he or she will not avoid anything that happens to the body also. You know, Sri Ramakrishna was stricken with this throat cancer. So one Pandit, Shashadhar Tarka Chudamani, is saying, you should put your mind on this cancer. And the power of your mind itself will cure this cancer. So Sri Ramakrishna says, I thought you were a Pandit, a wise person. You're talking like a fool. This mind that I have given to God, how can I bring it back and put it on this cage of flesh and bones? Another incident in that same place, Sri Ramakrishna was there. Nag Mahasaya was one of the greatest of Sri Ramakrishna disciples. He comes and he looks at Sri Ramakrishna and he approaches Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna, wait, don't. Nag Mahasaya was approaching him with the idea of taking that cancer within himself and thereby freeing Sri Ramakrishna from that disease. Sri Ramakrishna says, I know you can do that. Don't. And Nag Mahasaya fell back. So this itself you can say, understand. Swami Turiyananda, again in that same place. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying, I cannot talk, I cannot eat. He's making those signs, to Swami Turiyananda, Hari Maharaj. So Swami Turiyananda, he smiles. But I see you are immersed in bliss. Sri Ramakrishna says, this rascal has caught me. Immersed in bliss. That's what is that internal experience. So we have this whole concept of, you can say, bliss that is attained through the realization of God. You transcend everything. All pains are either adibhautak, adhyatma, and adidaiva. That is the divine It's like it's something like that. No, suppose you're walking out on the street and suddenly a lightning bolt strikes you. What did I do for that? I never deserved this. Well, it struck you. Don't blame yourself on karma. Don't blame any other factors. It happens. So you got hit by the lightning bolt. Or you're walking down and the snake comes and bites you. What did I do to deserve this? Don't ask questions. You got bitten. And so everything is going all right and suddenly I get a headache. What did I do? What did I eat to get a headache? Nothing. That's the nature of things. So these three, Adibhauta and Adhyatma and Adidaiva, these are the things that are constantly working on bodies and minds of everything. So these are the things that are pain. That's why that space is the bad space. You're in a bad space. So how do you get out of it? You get out of that bad space into sukha, good space, which is down deep within, inside you. As we have seen, sukham mathyantikam yatthad buddhigrayam atindriyam, that the internal sense organs, the mind, the buddhi, the intelligence, can grasp this happiness, sukham. What? The extreme form of that happiness, sukham, atyantikam, which is beyond the sensory and the motor organs. So there it is intuited by the intellect internally. So this is that bliss. Okay. So the commentator says, even is not perturbed even when attacked by cold or heat or pain or pleasure, even weapons. Reminds me of a incident there was a saint, Sadashiva Brahmendra. Yeah. So he was in the state of a Paramahamsa, the highest, you can say, experience of a monk, that Paramahamsa. And he used to go about, and he was not bothered about even about the world, forget. He was not even aware of his body. He used to go about. So one time he was going about, and these Paramahamsa, they are naked, going about, and there was a local ruler, and then that yogi, Brahmendra, he entered into that garden, and this person became so furious. What? You have the temerity of entering here? And then he called the soldiers, punish him. The soldiers, they took the sword and they cut. They struck him and his arm fell down. And then this yogi keeps on walking. And then they understand there's something terribly wrong. They take that arm and give it to him. Okay, he puts it back. He wasn't even aware that he had a body. He was constantly immersed in that bliss. So, when the commentator says that even weapons, the pain from any weapons, sharp weapons also, does not give that person pain. It's like this. The next verse, 23. Tam vidya dukkha sangyoga viyogam yoga sangnitam sanischayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa. Tam vidya, you should know that. Saying what? The severance of contact with sorrow or pain to be what is called yoga. You have cut the bonds from pain. So this is viyoga. What is viyoga? Yeah, cutting this whole thing, and that is yoga. Yoga is viyoga. Yoga is severance. What? From the association of pain. So you transcend pain. So he's saying that yoga has to be practiced with conviction and with a non-despondent mind. So here, so nischayena yoktavya, one has to practice with a definite, with a kind of a firm, you can say, conviction. And yoga nirvinna chetasa, that is with a undepressed heart, with the mind. Oh, today I had a good meditation. Tomorrow, I don't know, maybe. Then come tomorrow, and then what happens? Oh, it was a terrible, a damn squib, I think. And then sometimes for years you go without having anything. Nothing. You're only giving yourself a little more pain in your back and your legs, and nothing is happening. Keep at it. You don't ever give it up. Like Sri Ramakrishna used to say, there are those traditional farmers. Just because you don't get a rainfall for a couple of years, they're not going to give up farming and take up another profession. They're going to stick to it. So similarly, stick to your guns, as they say. Stick to it. In pain and pleasure, in sickness and joy, happiness and misery, stick to your practice. And not complaining, oh, I've got to do this. My guru has told me, do this, and I have to do this, and I'm constantly, over and over again. I could have nicely slept and taken it easy. I could have watched a movie or something like that. That's much better. No, stick to that. So this is sanischayena yoktavyo, practicing with a definite, you can say, conviction and with an undepressed heart. So what is yoga? Yoga is the severance, the cutting away from pain, from sorrow. So this is one of the, you can say, meanings of yoga. Like similarly in the 3rd chapter we have seen, he's speaking of samatvam yoga uchyate. Equanimity is yoga. Yoga also is karmashu kaushalam, dexterity in work. So various explanations are given of what yoga is. It's like, that it's a figure of speech, antithetical. What it means is, yoga is, yes, controlling the mind, etc., 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 yeah. But then this is the figure of speech that you are, by practicing that, disassociating yourself from all pain. So this is what it's saying. Tam vidyat, know that to be what is saying? Dukkha sangyoga viyoga. We are joined to pain. Everything is painful. Like you say, everything is painful, 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 painful. So there are times when there are, scholars, especially Western scholars, saying, see, this is a kind of dwelling constantly on this pain, 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 pain. It's kind of morbid, kind of dwell. No, it's not morbidity. It is the truth. Swamiji says, there will come a time when you stop calling things by its right name. You are calling pain as pleasure, and you're deluding yourself. So he's saying, there will come a time, like in the life of the great Buddha, when he stops calling things by wrong names, when he pulls that veil of delusion out from and sees things as they are. Because you need a driver. We have, those who have computers know all this. We have to have so many drivers. Without the drivers, the machine doesn't work. So, yeah. So you need a driver. And what is the driver? This disassociation, this severance from the contact with sorrow, pain. So people who have been, oh, this is so much pleasure, And they find finally, not finally, immediately, oh, it's painful. That's why Shri Krishna says in later chapters, that which starts as pleasure to you and which becomes painful, it becomes poisonous to you. First it is like nectar. And there are some things which start as kind of poison. It's venomous, this thing. And that is transformed into pleasure. So pain becomes joy. So here we have this severance from the contact with pain. When you see things as they are, generally what happens, we are seeing things, this and this and this and this. I can relate to this, I can relate to this, I can relate to this, I can relate, everything I can relate to. I have my relations, I have this community here. You relate to your community. Yeah, you can keep on relating and you're getting into a big hole. The only thing you should relate to is God. And all your relationships will be through that divine connection. Then you have started to become devoted to the practice of yoga. Otherwise, you'll say, oh, I've been meditating for 20 years. Somebody says, what 20 years? I've been meditating for 40 years. I got nothing. So one monk was saying, 50 years I've been meditating. I never even saw one grey beard of Sri Ramakrishna. So another monk, a venerable monk, says, that's your problem. You related to Sri Ramakrishna as with a beard. Sri Ramakrishna doesn't have a beard actually. But what is that? We see it in the picture. That is where you are going wrong. You have not understood Sri Ramakrishna as your real self. That's why you couldn't see even a grey beard of Sri Ramakrishna. So when you have related yourself to God, then you can have n number of relationships with everything. That is when you really become spiritual. People say, I am spiritual, but not religious. And spirituality, you can get it in this supermarket, in that shopping mall, in that center, in this place. Yes, spirituality. What kind of spirituality is this? Oh, spirituality. They have missed the whole mark of spirituality. Spirituality or spiritual life is to have all the relationships you have through your relationship with God. Then you are related to the whole of creation. Not to this is my special relationship, that is my special favorite, this is my likable thing, this is dislikable, oh, this is kind of. You will have problems then. And then when you start practicing meditation, it does not have that impetus, that power is not there behind your japa and meditation. Obviously, because it's kind of a lackluster. You're thinking you're doing japa and then this thing pops up in your mind, that thing pops out in your mind, 20 things pop out, and after some time 100 things pop out in your mind, and then this is your japa and meditation. But when you have related to God, everything, whatever pops out, will be tinged with the idea of God. There was one brahmachari who went complaining to Holy Mother, Mother, when I sit down in the evening for meditation, all these hundreds of thoughts come. Oh, what meditation? Whatever I've done throughout the day has become. So Mother says it's natural. Just remember that whatever you have done throughout the day is the Lord's work. The moment you fix this in your mind, then those hundreds of thoughts will not disturb you. Oh, this is the Lord's work. I belong to the Lord. There it is, over. This is, and Sri Ramakrishna is very clear, you must have a definite relationship with God. The first thing you start in spiritual life, you must have a definite, but what, I haven't even seen God. How do I know? Yeah, it's like, have you seen Antarctica? You'll say, no, I've seen pictures of it. That's good. That's a kind of an indirect knowledge. So the words of the sages and saints and the scriptures are indirect knowledge. The scriptures say, Vedaham etam purusham mahantam. I have known that great cosmic person. I have seen this. Now you want to believe that, or you want to believe God maybe or maybe not? That God is a figment of the imagination. You have 20,000 books saying that, and you have another 20,000 books saying, I have seen God. You take your choice. But your heart will tell you what exactly is it. When the crunch comes, when troubles come, then you make your choices. And that will be a right choice. So during these wars, young men going out to war and fighting, when they are face to face with death, that terrible reality, then what is real? What has been my life up till now? So let that crunch come, and that crunch comes with this kind of. Sri Ramakrishna also says, and all the sages say, it's a great educator. Don't run away from pain. Pain will keep on following you. You have to transcend pain, fine. It's a great educator. You are face to face with what you are seeing now as painful. Face it. And make your choices. What choice do you make now? So, this world is like this, and it is trying to awaken us. Now, we know we are okay, more or less healthy. There's no problem. But when things become painful, either physically or mentally, or morally or intellectually, Diane knows so much. You just want to just throw away everything. But it has been a great teacher. Through pain, you have attained so many things which would not have come to you. So this is trying to push our evolution in a very fast pace. So he's saying, you should know that severance of contact with sorrow or pain to be what is called yoga. That yoga has to be practiced with conviction and with a non-despondent mind. Don't let despondency ever overtake you. The very first chapter, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the despondency of Arjuna. Arjuna had simply collapsed. Siddhanti mama gatrani. And my limbs and all are shaking, and my hair is standing on end. I'm feeling confused, and I'm feverish, and he swoons and falls down. He was completely overwhelmed by the external forces, the factors, because he's seeing a huge army of the Kauravas. And more than that, he could handle it, but he had built all those relationships. See, my guru, Dronacharya, my grandfather, Bhishma, my brothers. Oh my God. So this is the problem with all these relationships. And what Sri Krishna does, he doesn't say, okay, my little boy, don't worry, let's go back. You don't have to fight. Oh, come. It's a painful thing for you. And what is Sri Krishna said? Oh, you fellow, foolish fellow, you've come here to fight. You're acting unmanly like this. You're behaving like an anarya. Go and fight. What's this? Yeah, go and face it. And this is what he removed, that despondency from Arjuna's mind. And that was what actually made him competent to listen to all these instructions on yoga. So this is what it is. He cut that contact with. So sometimes, we hug to ourselves pain. So we hug to ourselves with body, which is the painful thing. It's a pain. Yeah. So you're the guy, it's a pain. We hug a pain to ourselves. There have been people, when some of their relatives have died, or some mother or somebody, they have not taken it for cremation or burial or anything. They have kept that dead person. You know what happens. Very painful. But that person has not let go of this kind of old relationship. Saying that goes, everything is gone, but that person is dead. Still keeps on hugging that. So why do you need to hug pain? Let go. And this is what is letting it go. So it seems a kind of an uphill task. What? Everything is so painful, and yet I have to kind of cut this contact with this pain. So there's, the commentator also says, there were the small birds, they had laid their eggs on the bank, on the seashore. And the tide had come in and had washed away the eggs. So the bird saying, give us back our eggs. And the ocean laughs. Hey, what? They say, I am going to empty you drop by drop by drop. So the birds in their beaks hold a thin long stalk of grass, kusha grass, and they fly and they dip that long stalk of grass in the sea, come on the bank, on the shore, and shake that kusha grass. A few drops of water fall up, and then again fly back. They are constantly going. So Narada, he was going about, he said, what are you doing? It's not possible for you to do that. I'm going to empty this ocean little by little, drop by drop, till I get to eggs of mine. Narada was trying to dissuade, but then he felt compassionate. He felt, yeah, this is good. See that? Then he invoked Garuda, which is the, you can say, vehicle of Lord Vishnu. And Garuda comes. Garuda is saying, see, your little ones here, you're the same species, is doing this work. Do something. So Garuda flew on the ocean, extended his wings and started flapping them. As a divine bird, you see. And he's saying, I'm going to dry you up now. And the ocean, Samudra, became frightened. No, don't do that. Return those eggs. Yeah, please take it. Just take it. So as you begin, the moral of the story is, as you begin with that determination, I'm going to dry that ocean up. Swamiji says, I'm going to drink that ocean, like Agastya Muni. Drink that ocean up. At my will, mountains will crumble. Have that sort of determination, have that sort of will, and you will succeed. And then the grace of God comes in the form of Garuda starts flapping, and then your little efforts have not gone unnoticed. So the grace of God comes and you get what you... it's always Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna, always they used to insist that, oh no, you think your japa and dhyana, you can realize God through these things? No. You can realize God only through His grace. This is what it means. Your japa and is like kind of, as I say, peanuts. Not even peanuts, more than anything, less than that. You think you're going to tie God with your japa and dhyana and meditation and samadhi and all these? No, it's not possible. So there will come a time when, as you're keeping on working towards this severance of contact with pain, there comes divine grace and lifts you up. And as you're lifted up, you attain what has been spoken of. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
There are questions. Two questions. First question, Revered Sir, does one get liberated only after Nirvikalpa Samadhi? Does one not get liberated by other kinds of samadhi, like Salvikalpa Samadhi?
Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa, okay, these states, they come to a person after many, many births. Bahunam Janmanam Ante, at the end of many births. Jnanavan, the person of knowledge, Mam Prapadyate, attains me. Vasudevam Sarvamida. What is the realization? Vasudeva is all this. Now, in the case of, you can say, Savikalpa Samadhi, the idea is if you have the vision of God in Savikalpa Samadhi, you have attained liberation. So, it depends more on the philosophy you have. You see, God, you're free from samsara. That is liberation. You're being one with Him in one place. So that is spoken of as 4 grades. Salokya, in the same place as God. You will be in the same place as God. Samipya, you will be close to God. Sairupya, you will find yourself to be the form of that divine, you can say, God. Like you'll find yourself as a child of God, or you're of the nature of that God. And Sayujya, you have joined yourself completely to Him. So even in the scriptures of bhakti, where they speak about being with God in heaven or wherever, whatever. So there are stages of that. So you are there in that same place, then you come near, then you become identified, you look similar. Like Holy Mother, when she was in that particular state, she used to talk and walk, and all her movements were like Sri Ramakrishna's kind of. Yeah. Samipya and Sayujya, when that person is completely. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you transcend all forms, your form, God's form, and every form, and it go up there. So you do attain liberation in Savikalpa Samadhi. Okay.
Another question. Maharaj, what is that attitude that one must take if they continually make mistakes? how must one look at regret? Regret too is a cause of pain, isn't it?
Yeah. Uh, regret is a cause of pain and all these mistakes that you have done. How do you look upon these your own mistakes? Do you regret it? In spiritual life, whatever has happened, it's over. Okay? Don't regret anything. Start afresh. About mistakes, we all make mistakes. If you look at those mistakes as teachers, you have learned a great lesson. But the idea is, now you go to the source of all bliss, which is God. Give off all pain. So don't mope. Don't berate yourself. Don't fill yourself with negative things of all the mistakes that you have done. Now, you become aware. There's something called a thought belief awareness. Become aware of your beliefs. Become aware of your thought processes. You should not have a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to everything. I hope you understand this. Most of us are kind of having a knee-jerk reaction to everything. No. Put a kind of a leash over your thoughts and over your actions. Do the right choices, make the right decisions, and stay away from pain. And learn to surrender all your fruits of your works unto God. When you go to sleep at night, quietly, just pray to Shri Ram Krishna, pray to your God, that I'm sorry for all what I've done. There is a method to this also. If you can take it up, throughout the day, whatever you have done, you're talking about regrets, isn't it? You have done something good, you have done something bad. Now think up at the end of the day, just before fall asleep, 2 or 3 things that happened which were really good throughout the day. Write it down in a diary. Next day, the same thing. You do your mistakes, you do your everything you do, but take those 2 or 3 good things that have happened to you during the day and write it down in a diary. You will find in a year's time, 6 months later, you will find only those good memories are sticking with you. You remember those. And all the other regrettable things that have happened, you've forgotten it. This is a practical way of coming away from regrets and pains and negativity and all. So it is fixing your mind on those particular things. Yes, we know the world is both good and bad. Life is both good and bad. So you don't need to kind of go and like a sick person keep on thinking about all the bad things that have happened to you. Put on paper what really happened. A smile in a person's face, an innocence. You see a sunrise or a sunset and you feel so good. Write it down. You will remember those good thoughts. Those will form a class of memories by themselves, and you will not be bogged down with regrets and mistakes, etc.
One last question. Why do we need His grace? My hard work should produce results. It's the law of nature. I ask for results of my work. Why His grace? Please answer.
Oh yeah, you have worked for it. I don't need any grace. Well, you are living, isn't it? Yeah, I'm living. You see, you're breathing. Yes, I'm breathing. Well, if there was no air around, what would you do? Breathe. If there was no purifying factors for that air outside, look at a tree. Okay? It is external to you. You don't even bother about a tree. But that tree itself is in a way helping you to live. So everything in this world is actually helping you to live. If you look at this as the grace of nature. And secondly, you see, what karma do we know? What karma do we do? We are on the lowest level of the mind. This karma is simply wiped away. It's like, you write, when we were young, we used to write on the sandy beaches, big names and this and that and all those things. And the waves used to roll down and then they used to wipe everything out. Okay. Life is, you can say, much more complex than my karma, my fruits. But at the same time, you find some people who have done some karma. Take, for example, the author of Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas. His work, it seems imperishable, or Valmiki's Ramayana, or any other scripture. They have raised their mind to that level, and they have done work which was perfectly unselfish. That brought them that great results. So, I do the work, I have to get the result. You're most welcome to that. Take the results, and the results come as pleasure and pain. So the more narrow we become, the more limited the results of our work is. The less powerful our work becomes. The more unselfish you become. And the moment you become unselfish, slowly, the work becomes powerful. Okay? Now, when you're talking about there's a strict law of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. Yeah. You see, that work that we do is simply inadequate. Right now, we have been doing this particular work, possibly. You've seen some children playing the piano or the violin beautifully at a very young age, where they can't even lift that violin up or something like that, and they keep on. We have been working for years and years and years, lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. So things come to you from even those works that you do, not only your present work. Then also there are other factors. When you do spiritual work, it takes a very long time for the results to come. That's why the Gita says, Shipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. That in this world of material, this like you do something, you get a result immediately. And that's why there are the lower deities who are propitiated, who can give you the results immediately. The big gods, they take their time. I'm not very interested. And let's go for these kind of small things. Immediate gratification. So, there are many factors in this karma. So when you say the strict laws of cause and effect, it is really inadequate for that karma of yours to attain that which is beyond the laws of karma. Can you, with your limited karma and without grace, feel that the whole universe is nothing but a drop in your nature? If you can feel that. And then Sri Ramakrishna, when he told Swami Yogananda, today is his birthday also. He said, okay, when you go and buy something, see that whatever discount or something that they give, be sure to take that discount. So if you are doing a karma, you get some grace. Why discard it? So this is what the whole process is. Karma is a very powerful factor, no, there's no doubt. The most powerful thing in this world. But if you can get a little more help, good enough. Take it. And if you don't want it, well, strive. It will take bahunam janmanam, and at the end of many cycles of birth. Okay? Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.